Actually, that's exactly the right time to take the risk.
For sure.
You've got the rest of your life to correct it if it's gone the wrong path.
So let me first tell you that if you had told me 5 years ago that I would be selling cars in the Middle East, I would tell you that you were out of your mind.
Welcome back to a new edition of Driven Minds. My name's Craig Stevens. I'm the Chief Exec of DubiCars, and I'm delighted to be joined on the show today by Pablo Paredes, who is the General Manager for Kavak. He's been with the company now 5 years, but only in the region for 3 months, and I do hope I pronounced his surname correctly. Pablo, welcome to the...
Perfectly pronounced. Thank you, Craig, for having me.
Beautiful.
I'm happy to be having this conversation with you.
Great stuff. Well, look, how's your first 3 months been?
Oh, they've been amazing. So I landed last week of June. So
Nice and
probably
hot.
nice and hot. So
Yeah.
everything's just been getting better since I arrived, both the business, the weather. But I'm very happy to be here, to be having this opportunity in Dubai and in the Middle East. So it's been an amazing ride so far.
Excellent. Well, look, we will come back to the business and where you see opportunities and what you're focused on. But what we like doing in Driven Minds is finding out a bit about you as an individual before we get into the business. Mm-hmm. So it'd be great to understand you as a boy, going to school, what you did, and then how on earth you went from that to be based here in Dubai is what we're interested in. So what were you like at school?
So let me first tell you that if you had told me 5 years ago that I would be selling cars in the Middle East, I would tell you that you were out of your mind.
Well,
so let me preface with that.
Okay.
I've never fancied myself a car guy. As a boy, like pretty normal childhood. I'm from Colombia, in South America. Born and raised there. One brother. Went to high school, university, like all the normal things. Like pretty.
And that's normal in Colombia to go to school and high school and university, is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty par for the course. I started my career in investment banking. So
Right.
I was one of those guys who was wearing a tie every day, suit and a tie.
Yeah.
Spent a few years there, then went to do infrastructure investments in private equity. Then decided I had enough. Left to get an MBA, and made the daring decision to work in consulting.
Wow.
So pretty normal life so far there.
Yeah.
Spent 4 years there, and
What were you consulting on?
I worked for BCG, Boston Consulting Group, so a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Okay.
I told people that my specialty was projects which took less than 4 weeks, so pretty dynamic.
Yeah.
So I think that was amazing because it gave me the chance to see a ton of businesses, meet a ton of people, think about solving problems, which is what I enjoy. I enjoy solving problems and looking for opportunities where maybe other people see limitations.
Yeah.
And after that, a friend of mine started to tell me about Kavak.
Right.
Someone who was working
So this
in the
was
company.
5 years ago, was it?
It was 5 years ago, yes.
Okay.
He called me one day out of the blue. Someone who had worked with me previously, without a lot of just to tell me about Kavak. I put the phone down and I was like, well, this was a weird conversation.
So Kavak launched where first?
So Kavak is a company that's 8-9 years old. It originally launched in Mexico.
Yeah.
So we started in Mexico. The market there is huge.
Yeah.
And it has a ton of convenience, transparency, access issues, especially. Mm-hmm. So it was a very good place to start a business like this one. After Mexico, where it rapidly expanded, we started looking, okay, like what comes next? Where does this solution make sense? And the company, about 4 or 5 years ago, started to grow outside, first in Latin America. So we started the Argentinian operation, the Brazil operation, Chile, which I was a part of for around 2 years. And around that time, we also decided to come to the Middle East,
Yeah.
where we saw an opportunity and we saw a place where we will be able to learn more things than we were learning in South America, and that would allow us to offer a better product and a better experience to our customers.
Yeah.
So we've been here for around 2-3 years, I think, growing, quite happy with how the business is doing and how it has evolved, and also very happy of what it's taught us. And me personally, also very happy that it gave me the chance to have this experience.
Definitely. So where were you as a consultant where you heard about Kavak? Were you still in Colombia then?
I was in Mexico. I was living in Mexico.
Right.
I've moved around. I lived in like 10 countries throughout my life.
So you're in Mexico, you're a consultant, so you're producing lots of PowerPoint slides at this point of your life.
Yes.
And you get a phone call, someone says, hey, I've heard about this Kavak gig.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty impressive. Do you fancy becoming a used car dealer?
So they told me about Kavak. So one anecdote is, from my house to my office in BCG, there was a Kavak hub.
Ah, right. Okay.
So every time I saw like a truck which was branded Kavak, where we deliver cars, we have a couple of them here, and I always looked at it and I said, man, what's that? What's that? And this guy calls me and he says, so we're doing this. We are doing these changes in an industry that really needs it. Especially in Mexico and in Latin America, we're trying to bring this way of thinking to the table, and I thought, man, this is cool. Like, this sounds like an interesting thing to do. A car is one of the two most important assets that most families have. It's quite a transformational asset. So that got me, even though I'm not a car guy in the sense of like the metal and the engine and the questions around the importance of the asset, the relationship people have with their cars, started to interest me. And I started to investigate a little bit of, okay, what's this Kavak thing? What's it trying to do? And what problems is it trying to solve? And through that, I continued to talk to people in the company. And one day, they told me, hey, Pablo, would you like to come join us? Like, what would you like to do?
Why did they want you?
I think they saw in me someone who wanted to solve problems, who wanted to tackle on a big challenge, and who could bring a mix of structure from like my consulting way of thinking with also a bias to action.
Right.
So I mean, you would have to ask Jaime or Carlos when they hired me, but that's what I would like to think they saw.
Yeah, no. I mean, the reason I asked the question is, what we're appealing to here with the podcast is not just people either moving to Dubai or in the automotive, but trying to really talk to any young person who wants to make it either in their own business or in someone else's business, and therefore, what is it they offer? What do they need to offer to be successful? Yeah. So it sounds like for you to be successful in Kavak, it's the ability to not only identify problems, but have the appetite to solve problems.
Yeah, definitely a bias to action.
Is that something that you learnt at university, or is that just a God-given gift you've always had?
I think that's always something I've always had.
Right.
So I always say that entrepreneurship is a little bit in your DNA. It's not in my DNA. Like, if you see my family, is more of a like normal job kind of people. Like, but entrepreneurship is something that I was always very interested in. But like, to be honest with your audience, never had the full belief to develop. And I think that they saw like this drive, and it provided a place where this could be mixed, right? So a possibility to create, to open operations, to solve problems, to think differently, to do, with a backing of a something a little bit more established or established. To
do you feel like an entrepreneur here in the region? Do Kavak treat you like an entrepreneur in this region?
Oh, definitely. I think that's what they demand.
Right. Okay.
That we generate a business which is sustainable, which adds value to the group as a whole, and to experiment with the possibilities that the region gives us. So a little bit of the logic for a Latin American company to be in the GCC is to be able to try new things and to learn from a different environment. So what I'm expected to do is to innovate, and that's what I like to do also. So that's what makes me wake up every morning to do my job.
Yeah. Okay, very good. So Kavak, by the way, Kavak, does it have a meaning? Was that a stupid question? Does it mean something?
It means a lot of things. So there's a river in Venezuela called Kavak. There's a tree in Turkey, which is called Kavak, which is, and if Turkish people, please don't hate me if I say something wrong, but it's a tree that you gift to a child when they're little, and it symbolizes prosperity, something like that. So it's got a few meanings.
Is that why it was
nice
called
meanings. Kavak? Honestly, I have no idea. You I think
I'll stick with the tree story. That sounds great.
I love that. I love that story.
Yes.
It's the one that I like telling people.
Yeah, that's a nice story.
I'm definitely gonna get one of those trees when I have a kid.
That's good. Yeah. I'll get you a tree. That was for a thank you for coming on the podcast. I'll get you a Kavak tree. So realistically, you never had aspirations to go into the automotive industry. You had aspirations to work in a business in an entrepreneurial sense that gave you freedom to test, learn, innovate, fail.
Yes.
And Kavak's given you all of those things.
Yes.
Excellent. Now you're in the automotive industry, and 5 years in, you're definitely in. It's got to be in your blood by now, because I think the thing about automotive is once you're in it, you just never want to leave it.
No. So I in my previous role, I was the general manager in Chile. I was talking to the commercial guy one day, and I told him I never knew before Kavak that driving a car could be a pleasurable experience. And now it's something like I enjoy. Like I get to see like all these amazing machines.
Yeah, definitely.
Also understand the complexity that it is to buy them, sell them, repair them in volume. And it's fascinating.
Yeah. I tried to leave automotive once. I left for 2 or 3 years and I just had to come back. I miss it that much. I just think if you have got the mindset that you've got, I think there's so much opportunity in this marketplace because there's so much inefficiency for both the consumer and the dealer still.
So many problems to
fix. So many problems to fix that you're never quiet. There's always something to do. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to talk about some of those problems. Based on your 3 months here, and obviously, don't worry, you don't have to be an expert on this region, but where do you see the similarities between Latin America and where you've been with Kavak to this market, and where do you see absolutely the complete opposite to where you've been and things that have surprised you?
So there's a very big similarity in all of the markets that we operate in, which is the relevance of the purchase decision. So this is an asset, and I still call it the asset, which is not something that you're buying every day. It's not a decision that you make lightly, that carries a lot of risk in many cases. And that's true all over the world. I mean, when someone is buying a trash in Chile, or when they're buying a BMW in Dubai, it's an important decision for them, right? It doesn't matter on the scale where you are in the purchase. So we have to give an amazing experience, and we have to give them a lot of peace of mind. So that is something that is similar all over, across. We have to be on our best game every day. And also something that's very similar is that you can talk about the purchase decision, but for many people, there's a question of access, to have the access for a car. Right, to give them access, to enable financing. It's a ton of moving pieces. So that's similar across. Where does it differ the most? I could go the easy route and tell you that the processes, the legal process are different, super different. So in some countries, you can sell a car within an hour. Everything's digitalized, everything's easy. In some other countries, it takes 2 weeks. no, and you have to like do a ton of stuff in the background. That's super different, and that's something that you every place you go, you have to learn how to buy and sell a car. Like so that's super different. Other things that are different is the expectation of the customer and the type of customer that we end up creating. Probably if you go to one of the other countries in Kavak and you go to the GCC, maybe we're positioned differently. The customers are more demanding.
Here?
They're more demanding here in terms of, for example, I mean, clients are demanding everywhere, but it's different more than the place that on the type of transaction they're doing. Some customers want a car the cheapest price they can possibly get it. And they don't care about the trim, for example.
Yeah.
Because it's a tool. I need to go to A to B to deliver a package. Some other clients want the best quality possible, and they're not that bothered if you are the best deal, because they're willing to sacrifice that on time for an easier process. So that tends to differ more than in the place, on the type of customer and on the occasion.
Do you find that's down to the culture of the consumer themselves? So are you seeing in your dealership that maybe Europeans are acting differently to someone from Southeast Asia or so on, and almost you can say, okay, they're from the UK, they're going to be asking these questions. Okay, these guys are from Australia, they're going to be... Do you have that, or is it not so much where they're from? Is it more about the type of car they're buying?
No, it's more about the type of car they're buying and the occasion. So, for instance, if you're buying your first car, the kind of questions you're going to be asking are completely different than if you're buying your fun car. And that tends to drive more differences in behavior.
Okay.
Sometimes it's correlated to where they come from.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's some occasions that you identify where people are changing cars. Maybe they had a kid. The kind of relationship and of questions that customer is going to ask are completely different to the ones that someone who's starting a business and needs a car for deliveries is going to ask. And as Kavak, we try to cater to everyone. If you look at our catalog, we have an amazing array from like fun cars and really to like very utilitarian cars in that sense of the word. So for me, it's more the occasion that changes the behavior than the nationality, than those type of things. Of course, there are other things that there are some Arab speakers, so we have Arab speakers, salespeople to tend to them. There are Hindi speakers, and but that happens.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I suppose when negotiation is part of the process, right? So yes, the research phase and finding out about the car and so on, but there's that point where you have to negotiate, and I guess different cultures negotiate differently.
Everyone wants to negotiate.
Everyone wants to negotiate.
Yeah.
But some people want to negotiate on value, and some want to negotiate on price. So how do you train your salespeople to think about those things, right? Because I know I buy differently to maybe someone in my office who just wants the best price. A great story I heard once was a dealer who told me that they had the car marked up, and in the advert it said, full service history, warranty for 12 months, blah, blah, blah. And the customer said, look, I don't want any of those things. Strip all those things out and just give me the best price. And he said, well, I can take the warranty off for sure. He said, but I can't take the full service history off. And they're like, why not? Well, because it's had full service history. You can't remove that from the car. And they're like, just strip everything out of the car. I want the best possible price. That is not the way I buy a car. I buy a car I want a 3-year warranty.
Yeah.
I want the best finance deal. I don't care about the cost of the metal. So
look, like philosophically, we always want to put our best price forward. So we don't. I would like you to value the service we're providing, and to understand that we're putting the best price forward and not be negotiating. Because like I don't wanna. Oh, here comes Craig. He looks like someone I can like get squeeze a little bit more. Or here comes Pablo. No, he's gonna be like hard.
Yeah.
I'm like philosophically that's something that we don't like. So we try to put our best price forward, from the beginning.
Okay.
That's our philosophy.
Yeah. So the consumer then, just so I understand the differences in the marketplace. So the buyer in, let's say, Mexico compared to the buyer here in Dubai, the main difference is what would you say? What are the 2 or 3 key differences that you've seen in the consumer?
So the type of cars are different.
That's on the
right?
cars, but on the consumer side, what are you seeing? I mean, are the penetration of finance pretty similar?
Okay, so it's quite easier to get a loan in Dubai than it's in Mexico.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, so the access part of the problem is it's bigger in one of those countries than here. So in Mexico we have our own financing arm, and part of the rationale behind having that was because the financing partners maybe weren't giving the access that we wanted to give, and that's been tremendously successful. Here we've had the opportunity to work with financing partners who have been very, very responsive to the needs of our customers. So that is definitely the biggest difference. The first question in Mexico is access.
Right. Okay.
Maybe here it's what car do you want? So I would tell you that's very, very different. The access to financing is quite different. The rates, I mean, people can look them up, but it's tremendously different. So the access, I would tell you, is different. So when you're giving someone access, maybe some of the other things become less important.
Right. Okay.
And maybe they become more price conscious. Whereas here, the convenience is maybe more important. You want to have the car in 2-3 days. I don't know.
Yeah.
So the importance of the issues shifts. But I will tell you that's the biggest difference.
What about the time to buy? I mean, is the time to buy here shorter or longer? Are consumers spending a longer time in that research phase, or is it pretty similar to Mexico? So once they've decided they want to buy it within a week, done?
No, so we have very efficient sales processes. What we've seen in the numbers is that it's not that different from the first time they log into Kavak.
Yeah.
We are rotating our inventory relatively quickly. So that also makes that the customer makes the decisions relatively quickly.
Yeah.
So it ends up moving in the speed that our inventory moves.
Okay.
So it's not that we're talking to let's say, here we're talking to someone for a week and an activity for a month. That's not the case. They tend to be relatively short time frames for decision making.
And that, you believe, it's been driven because you're just turning your stock pretty quickly, right? So
I'd like to think that.
I like that as an idea. What is your average stock turn then? How fast are you turning cars?
Well, it's I think we turn over our inventory maybe between 20 and 60 days.
Yeah.
Depends on the market.
Yeah.
And also depends on so for example, from when you decide to make the purchase to when I deliver the car, Dubai takes a little bit more time. So it depends if I include that in the calculation or not. Whereas in Chile, I can deliver the car within hours. Here, I can't do that because we have to go through more processes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. We're trying to calculate what it looks like at the moment in terms of days to sell and how quickly dealers are turning stock. And it's not always that easy because sometimes dealers pour stock, take stock off the market, then bring it back a month later. So, yeah. I'm generally interested to see, how that compares to your previous experience in Mexico and whether it's faster here or slower or.
I mean, the good news is that I think that we have a lot of levers to make it shorter or longer.
Yeah.
But I mean, everyone makes their decisions based on their cash position, for instance.
Yeah. Well, how long it takes to get finance or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so look, you're an entrepreneur. You've got 5 years' experience in different markets. 3 months in, where do you see the biggest opportunities and the biggest threats? Not just for Kavak itself, but for the used car industry here in the UAE.
So look, I mean, if you look at the numbers, used cars are, in terms of volumes, are way more than new cars. Now there's a big shift in the type of cars we're seeing. If you look at electric cars, for example, I don't think the market still understands how they're going to depreciate fully. So that's something that we have to learn very fast. I think we've been learning it, but we have to learn it very fast. Because if we don't, the pricing becomes harder to identify, and you don't want to make mistakes there. So I think that's a huge challenge that the industry has. Like all of these changes in the, that's also an opportunity. Because if we learn how to do it well, we can be victorious, if you will. Also, like if you look at the dealers, the dealers' participation in the used car markets is only a fraction. Like you have a ton of things that's happening between individuals.
Yes.
So we as dealer and those transactions are becoming easier every day. So we need to understand how we add value. You talked about the warranties. You talked about the services, how we can provide better service there, more access. So as dealers, we have to be better. We have to develop better processes. We have to be more efficient to be able to compete with this. And I think the only winner from that is going to be the customer, because they're going to be able to decide, hey, I want the peace of mind of having bought from Kavak, because I know that if anything happens, these guys have the infrastructure and the capability to be there. So I think that's the biggest threat and opportunity, that we have to become more give more to the customer in terms of services.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what your stats say. We believe that the C2C market is about 50% of the overall, in used cars, overall transaction. I don't know whether you've calculated how big you think the C2C market is, but we think it's based around that, which surprised me when I first came here, because I would have thought expats coming to a new country, you'd trust a dealer more than you trust a consumer, and but that's not the case. So is that where you see one of your biggest opportunities, is just actually taking more share from the C2C market, professionalizing that, adding value there?
Yeah, I think that's one. Like more services, so more people would be willing to choose us.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest bet.
Okay.
And I think that's something that all of the industry needs to think about.
Yeah, good point. I think you're right. So do you think the industry is thinking like that at the moment?
If they're not, they should. I haven't done enough mystery shopping to be able to give you a strong answer on that.
I'll give you my answer. They're not. Right? I think that the industry is quite fragmented here. It doesn't act as an industry, it acts as individual dealers. And therefore, I don't think there's enough of this critical thinking around, we could double the volumes of B2C sales if we are more professional, because the consumer market will shrink. And that leads me on to my next thing, right? Because I think when I think about threats in this market, the new car market is growing far faster than the used car market here. And the latest stat I saw said that it's 1-to-1 again now. So for every one new car, it's one used car. So that adds complications to this marketplace.
Definitely. So that's, of all the places we are, that's where it's more in parity.
Yeah.
If you look at Mexico, it's maybe 4-to-1.
Yeah.
If you look at Chile, it's around 4-to-1
4
as well.
used to 1 new.
Yeah, it's around that.
And that's what I'm used to as a metric. So 1-to-1 is interesting.
So for us, that's amazing, because it lets us learn in a very competitive environment. And sometimes when we are thinking about competitively here, we are not only looking at what's going on in the used car market, but in the car market.
So obviously one of the key growth areas for new has been Chinese. Do you see that as a threat to your business, all this new Chinese product coming out, or is that? Again?
We need to learn about it. I mean, it's for me. I'm agnostic. So if the car is Chinese, or if it's Japanese, or if it's German, as long as I think that it's of value to my customer, I really don't care.
I'm thinking more about as a new product, right? So if I'm a consumer and I've got 150,000 to spend, I can come to you and buy a second-hand car for 150, or I can go and buy one of the 32 new Chinese makes in the market, probably a bit less than that, with a finance deal, with a nice ribbon wrapped around it when I turn up in the showroom. How do you compete against that?
Well, we sell Chinese cars as well. So some of these cars that you're buying new next year, we're going to be selling them.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, everything has pros and it has cons.
Yeah.
And more than convincing you, I'm not a huge believer that we need to sell you on a car. I'm a believer that we need to sell you on our service. And the car you want is going to be there. So if you want maybe a nicer, and I'm using the word nicer very loosely, maybe you come and get a used one, which is similar in terms of quality. But if you want that new car smell and the Chinese car is going to give it to you, like, go for it. Like, why not? Next year, when you want to change it, come and sell it to me. And I'm going to give you the best experience there.
Yeah.
And maybe in that moment, you'll say, you know what? Maybe the new car smell wasn't really worth it. So I want to upgrade a little bit and buy it used.
Right.
But the fact that they're Chinese is similar to what I was telling you about electric cars. We just need to understand how they're going to behave, and they're going to be part of the market. So how do we treat them? We learn how to manage them.
Yeah. Well, I guess the good thing about the automotive market is, you've got kind of 2 to 3 years to work it out, right? Because they're not going to become used cars for a while.
Yeah.
My worry about the Chinese stock is, that it could really put pressure on the used car market from a price point of view, because we could have a lot of...
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, that happens. And when there's a flood of new cars, you have to be very wary of the depreciation of the used ones.
Yeah.
So you have to be very, very efficient on rotating your stock. And you have to be very, very aware of that.
Yeah.
To react in time. I think that the most worrying thing is that if you don't react.
Yeah.
If you don't react and this happens, and you end up with old stock, and then it becomes way more complicated.
So your point then, as an entrepreneur in this region with the challenges and opportunities, one of the things has got to be about the speed, because the market is moving quickly.
Yeah.
You don't want to be stuck with old stock that's overpriced.
You don't.
So one of the things you must think about day and night is, how do we just sell these cars faster?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, pricing is key to that. But what else helps you sell a car faster?
So there's I think 3 things. Pricing is one. If the price is not correct, it doesn't matter what you do anywhere else. The second one is visibility, and this is where we work with you guys, right? To give our cars, our inventory, the best visibility it can, so people are aware that we have it and we have it at a fair price. And the third one is how we deal with the leads. So we need to give them the best possible service, whether that means calling them within 5-10 minutes that they show interest, whether that means helping them get financed. So we need a car at a correct price, with good visibility, and to convert quickly. Those are the things that we need to ensure that happen.
Yeah. So that's kind of your business scorecard, is it? They're the things that you are just looking at constantly in terms of the price you bought it at, desirability, and the speed you respond to consumers. They're kind of things you... Is there another metric that you look at?
We're very active in trying to curate our stock.
Right.
So we try not to have 100 of the same car.
Yeah.
Because even if you have it at the correct price, sometimes that generates problems.
Yeah.
And also, something that we look... these are very efficiency metrics that we talked. But I don't want to have a transactional relationship with my customer. I want you to buy your car, and in 3 years, when you want to change it, to come and sell it to me and to buy another one.
Yeah.
So we look at our NPS a lot. We try to talk to our clients to see if they're happy, to see if they need any other products from us, to develop products, all those things. I wanna have a relationship with you where I'm your car guy and not someone you bought a car from once.
Yeah. No, that's key. Well, a bit of feedback. I know a couple of people bought through Kavak, and the feedback is always extremely good about your service. So you're obviously doing something very right there. let's kind of start to wrap this up now. What advice would you give to an entrepreneur who's a consultant or in that kind of industry, thinking about moving into automotive, thinking about moving into the Middle East, or any new territory, not even the Middle East? What things should people be thinking about before they make this leap?
So look, like if I were to talk to my 20-year-old self,
How many years back is that? You got to go.
it's almost 20. I would have told him, man, take a risk.
Right.
Don't wait for the opportunity to be an entrepreneur to come to you, but go search for it.
Yeah.
That's something like I wish I had done something more entrepreneurial before in my career. Like I'm very happy about what I did. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
But if I were to be 22 again, probably I wouldn't say, hey, be an investment banker, but probably go and do entrepreneurship. Investment banking, your smart's always going to be there, probably.
Yeah.
But try to take risks. Try to think of what if this goes well. I think we're always thinking about risks. Or what if I screw up? What if I fail? You know, but we don't spend enough time thinking about what if it goes well.
Yeah.
And there's always time to correct course.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I would do is take more risks. Go into entrepreneurship before. I had one of the persons who was in my team at the beginning had a startup. It did okay, didn't do amazing. Then came back. Man, the amount of learning this guy has is much more than I had in a similar amount of time.
Yeah.
I would definitely travel.
Yeah.
See other cultures, see other places. I've lived in like 10 countries in my life, so that one I have complied with. But that's something that and learning through others' experience always gives you ideas. Maybe I can do this or that in Colombia, maybe or somewhere else, you know, or maybe something that we do well, people in the Middle East can benefit of. I don't know. So
It sounds like you're naturally curious.
I'm very curious. Yeah.
Yeah. That's, I think, a skill that sometimes gets underestimated for success. Is being genuinely curious about how does it work? How do I make things better? Why are you doing that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of the things that I get flustered by is when I ask, why do we do this? Oh, we've always done it like that. That's
Wrong answer.
That's the worst answer I can receive.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really funny you talk about risk because we had the conversation before the podcast about we are becoming a risk-adverse world. Well, the politicians aren't, but we are as the general public. And that does drive a behaviour where, even to your point, right, where obviously you invested in your education, you got your qualifications, and then you probably didn't want to take a risk to become an entrepreneur because you'd invested so much in your education, you want to take that risk. But actually, that's exactly the right time to take the risk.
For sure.
You've got the rest of your life to correct it if it's gone the wrong path.
For sure.
Yeah. It's a really good message, I think, to send to anyone watching this. Take the risk now, go for it, you know, and
try to go where things are happening.
Yeah.
And that's something that I have found here in these 3 months. Like the conversations I'm part of are amazing.
Yeah.
You know, a ton of things happening here.
Yeah, very good. All right, I'm going to ask you one final question. Where's Kavak going over the next 3 to 5 years? Not necessarily globally, but here in the UAE. What are you going to be focused on in the next 3 to 5 years? The Middle East.
So my focus is on giving my clients a better experience every day. That's the short answer to your question. What for? Because if I do that, I'm going to grow. I'm going to capture more market, and I'm going to be able to take solutions to more people. Whether that means go deeper into the UAE and more volume here, or whether that means going abroad somewhere, I don't know what the answer is, but definitely give a better experience to my customers so they want to come back. So that gives me the freedom to grow.
Very good. Well, look, as I said, I know your customers already get a good experience. So if you invest another 3 to 5 years and give them an even better experience, it's going to be off the charts. So you're going to be successful in whatever you do. Thank you very much for joining us on this podcast. 3 months in, sounds like you've already got your hands around this business, this market. So well done. and we look forward to seeing you in the future.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for the time, and I hope you and your audience find this interesting.
It's your audience too. They're buying your cars.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you to all of our clients
Thank you. Cheers.
and the future ones.
Bye-bye.
Bye.